saw this trick yesterday. People are holding the mic like this.
That's an MC move.
It is.
That's like you're about to do some Eminem.
I know. I was like, I'm doing that. And my lips don't have to touch it.
Yeah, there'll be no lip touch here.
I feel like I'm in the presence of greatness a little bit.
Stop it.
As I was kind of talking to people this week about who I was moderating, I'd say Beverly Jackson, and everyone's like, oh, like no pressure. I'm Katie Miller, Chief Brand Officer at Argonaut. We are a creative agency. We are based in San Francisco and New York. And we help kind of discover the iconic potential in every brand, which is why I feel really lucky to be here with an icon in her own right. Very iconic brand that I think I've ever made. You want to introduce yourself? I mean, it needs no introduction.
That's so funny. I was just talking to someone on our team and we were saying how like I've been coming to South by for some random assortment of reasons since like 2010, maybe. But my name is Beverly Jackson, and I am the Vice President of Global Brands and Consumer Marketing, which includes our creative internal studio for Twitter. My team spans a couple continents, 7 to 8 countries, and because we're a distributed workforce, are all over the United States. And oddly enough, I've not met most of them because we've been in little boxes. So I'm happy to be here, and Katie and I can have like a cool chat. Real talk.
Well, yeah, I guess at that point, today's talk is kind of in honor of International Women's Day, which was earlier this weekend. That's the day I had the privilege of meeting, by the way, which is really appropriate. And I think what we wanted to do is just talk about the importance of women in leadership. And so I will start just by asking, I guess, a broad question of what is it, Beverly, that you think makes women so uniquely poised to be in leadership positions?
So we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and on International Women's Day before my chat with you, I sat down and did a fireside chat with the CMO of Barclays Bank, and so we were kind of talking about this. And the standard answers are, women are kind, they're good listeners, they're nurturers, all of those things. And I don't want to attach all of these sort of soft skills and soft sort of malleable traits to women and women leaders. Women leaders are equally badass. They're equally operationally focused with rigor and keen intellect and the ability to be decisive and all of those kinds of things. But I think what makes women unique is we bring that plus all of those soft skills into everything that we do. And we show up that way when it is appropriate. And I like to think about women's leadership skills like a well-packaged mom bag. And so I'm not a mom. If you knew yesterday, I didn't have the thing to say like, I've got like 2 kids because I don't have any, and I get anybody downstairs saying I'm the baby mama. I'm not. But what's interesting is that that if you've got like a great handbag, inside that handbag, you're gonna have everything from a sewing kit to a scalpel, to mending tape, to a protractor, and you might have a switchblade in there, and you're going to have some hair ties, and we're going to have a whole assortment of things necessary to get you through your day. And that's how women leaders show up. Like we bring all of those skills to the table. We go into our handbags or our fanny packs. I think the Brits don't make fun of the fanny pack comment, but we go into that. And we pull out the things that we need to get the job done. And that's what I find so unique about when you put women in leadership roles and you ask them to show up and do work.
It's really funny you mention that. This is a scented cherry pen that I had to pull out of my purse for my 5-year-old that I brought on the plane to come here. So yes, I can totally identify with that. It's like a scene from Mad Max or something. That's really interesting. I think we also talked a little bit about, that notion of we are biologically programmed to multitask, where we had these great ancestors, half the population would set out and try to go catch the bison, and women would stay back and deal with everything else. And so it's just in our brain to be able to focus like that.
So it's interesting, right? Because if we go back to those days when people had to go out and catch the food, and you're the hunter or you're the gatherer or you're the person back home, right? The reality is that for most women and for most working women, that you have to do both of those things. the hunter doesn't go out by himself or herself and just wake up and go, today I'll kill a boar, right? You don't do that by yourself. Like somebody has to say, where's the arrow? Wait, do you have like something to bring the boar back in? Like, how are you gonna carry it? Where's your knife? You know, like you gotta like get the pack, the kit ready, the boar killing kit ready. That sounds so savage, but I'm here in Texas, and I feel like it's appropriate. So like a little brrr on the bottom of it, right? Exactly. On this video, on the animal dead road, dead animal road. But you know, that's right? So it's that ability to multitask, it's the ability to have that bag or that basket that has a full array of skills in it. But no one does that alone. And women are able, you know, in my team, we call it having your head on 360. And so if you've ever like worked together, you're like, your job is to see through doors, around corners, and your head ought to be on swivel, right? Because you need to be able to see what's coming. And that's kind of that ability that women bring to the table. And that's the same thing that happens when someone goes out to do that work, somebody else is back preparing it or getting them ready to go do that work and be successful. And that's what, again, that's to me, that's so the essence of female leadership or like women-centered leadership.
You said something in the chat the other day that I loved. It was a little bit maybe controversial. You know the meme that has the icon from the women's restroom and it's like it was never a dress and it kind of switches it to a cape. And you said that brings an unnecessary burden. We're not trying to be heroes. We realize that it's such a moving thing.
Yeah, it's like I know for Women's International Women's Day, there's that little meme where it's like the men's restroom and then the women's restroom, and it's like it's not a dress, it was always a cape. It's like, as a Black woman, I'm tired of saving people. Save your damn self. Like, get off of me. Get off of me. And it's like, and sometimes I tell my teams, right, and I say this to my husband all the time, who can't figure out how to feed the dog, even though he's got an MBA from Stanford. Like, the dog should not eat everything that I left in one sitting. So, he called me last night. I've been in meetings, I say this about my husband, he's gonna be really mad. But I've been in meetings, business meetings, like negotiating a deal somewhere on the other side of the country. And my husband will text me and go, I don't see any clean undershirts in the drawer. And I'm like, excuse me, that's because they're in the tote hamper. There's a machine at the end of the hall. You don't even need coins. You've already paid for it. Use it. And so it's really that thing about like sometimes the S on my chest is crooked, my tights are torn, you know, my cape is a little askew. We are in this together, right? And like we should stop expecting women to come in and save the day. We have to, our allies and our mutuals, so that from TikTok, our allies and our mutuals have to show up and be partners with us in this, like, you know?
So, all right. I
got dogs out my husband.
He's not screaming.
I love you, honey.
So when you said, you know, that there's a soft skill of listening that I think that women bring to the table, and I think we know we can't do it ourselves. We think other people are important. You told me a story about how you learned the hard way how to listen. Do you want to share that with everyone? I don't know. Okay. Let's do that. Let's have some fun. So another thing we were talking about. Your career's been full of a lot of fun, a lot of entertainment platforms, but also a lot of crises and drama. And tell us a little bit about how you kind of brought your ability to take a beat and listen to some of those moments.
So what she's talking about is I ran the Grammys I ran social media Grammys for a really long time. I sort of like changed the way we interact with award shows. And my first Grammys was the Rihanna and Chris Paul event. Chris Brown. So Chris Paul's like, I ain't done nothing to nobody. First she's dogging on her husband, now she's coming at Chris Paul. Chris Brown. And so that was like that first moment of like, we have 7, and I don't talk about what happened between them and that tragic event. What I talk about is for a marketer, it's 7 minutes of live television to film because both of them were slated to perform. And it was like, okay. And we started pulling people out of the audience. And if you remember, it was the most eclectic performance ever. It was Summer Boys to Men, Justin Timberlake, Al Green, and somebody's band. And I don't even remember what they sang, but it was good and people never noticed and it just kept going. My last Grammys was Whitney Houston. And so we had 3,000 of the A-list celebrities in the bottom of the Beverly Hills Ballroom. And the tweet actually came from, it was a tweet that actually first said that she had passed. And that tweet came from some random place in Nevada. I'll never ever forget that. And it was in the bathroom because it was the only quiet place. So we're in the ladies' room of the Beverly Hilton Hotel. We were crisis planning. We had a computer and a laptop, and there were people back in headquarters, and we were sort of all going back and forth about what to do. And I remember the CEO or the president of the Grammys at the time, I was sitting at a table next to the CMO, and we were all sort of in shock and just sort of not sure what to do or what was going to be next. But the president of the Grammys stood up on stage and said, "We will give a tribute worthy of the icon that Whitney Houston was." And we were all kind of like, yay, what does that mean? Because there wasn't a place in the program for that. And oddly enough, for some other marketing reason, Jennifer Hudson was there. And I was talking to, and it became one of the most iconic moments of television. But what's really interesting, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday at dinner, who was there with us doing the data around it. Twitter stopped that day because normally doing live television events, Twitter is like on fire. People are live tweeting. It was the beginning of that. Like, you didn't have any other places to go. Like, it was Twitter. Twitter, that's what Twitter, what's happening was born. And it just stopped. Like, the numbers just plummeted. And, so where this goes is, I also was at Yahoo when email went down for 2 weeks. I was at Yahoo when we launched fantasy football and it died on opening day of the NFL and it didn't work. And like all the engineers, everybody was sort of being online trying to fix it because people were trying to manage their bets and manage their fantasy teams. And then I was at MGM when the mass shooting happened in Las Vegas, and the trauma of that, and trying to use social and the platforms to find people and reconnect people who had lost their phones and their families couldn't find them. And you go from being this really cool brand where you're like selling concert tickets and telling people to come and turn up in Vegas. And I remember I used to do this thing where I say, like, I'm the queen of turn up, right? Not turn ups, but turn up. And I stopped saying that because it changed the way I felt about how we use the platforms to support people and how you show up as a marketer in those moments. And it was all the soft skills, all the things that make you human and compassionate and listen to people and focus on them and look you in your eyes and lower the tone of my voice and provide calm and be nurturing to my team, to my guests, and to the nation. But it's also all the hard skills in it. Like, turn off your paid advertising, turn off your targeting, change the tone of voice. Like, all of those things about like using dark posts on Twitter to reach people who were impacted, like changing the way we deliver messaging. All of that stuff plays into it. And I use those every day in every job that I've ever had. And I used to also say, I show up and bad things happen. You're all safe, right? And so, but I use those set of skills across the entire year. It's just a lesson, a life of lessons learned about how to talk to people, how to treat people, how to show up for people, how to support people, how to encourage conversations to be thoughtful and real. And that's just been a part of it.
I mean, I imagine in a moment of crisis like that, the pressure to respond is intense. And just learning the lesson of like taking a minute and getting it right versus getting it out there fast is,
I said this thing to you is, and I say this a lot, right? Because I kind of quote my grandma and my mom and stuff a lot. And my mother always says, I was very verbal at a young age. Surprise. I was very verbal at a young age. And I thought, my mother always said to me, you have 2 ears and one mouth. So do more listening than you do talking. And so I spend lots of time listening, and that leads me to collaboration because I now know what you want and what you need and what I need to give to you. And so if I'm doing more listening, that leads to better collaboration. The better collaboration leads to better leadership. It leads to better mentorship. It leads to better allyship. It gives people opportunities. I know we sort of talked about this thing about like, so when an opportunity comes, I now know in my head, because I've been listening to my team, I've been listening to my neutrals, my allies, people that I'm on their board of directors, I show up for them. I now see an opportunity and I'm able to put you in that. Like, you don't ever have to say to me, put me in, coach, put me in, because I'm gonna tag you in. Like, and you're gonna, and my goal is to be ready when I tag you in.
Yeah. There's something I was struck by when I kind of got to know you a little more, and then I obviously am familiar with the kind of philosophies of Twitter platform. And there's such a like inextricable link between what we value and what it seems like the Twitter brand stands for. That is kind of inclusive of all opinions, on the front lines of listening to use your words. Was that part of the reason that you sought out your job?
So it was, I loved my job at MGM. Like, I was the queen of Las Vegas. Like, I was counting people, it was skiing, it was good time. I was a front row off shows, like, drinking good scotch, eating seafood salads. It was awesome. And then the people from Activision called, right? And I've been flirting with the Activision opportunity for almost 9 months. And so I kind of had the Twitter thing on the back burner, and I talked to Jack and Kayvon and Leslie, and I was like, yeah, Twitter is like super special. It's always been a part of my heart. But things didn't work out. There's a little global panini. And so I took the Activision opportunity. And Activision is an amazing company that's got some great challenges and opportunities ahead of us with amazing products. It never felt right. It's like a bad relationship. I say this all the time, like everything has an expiration date on it. Milk, men, meat, see the thing there? But it just never felt right for me. Like in my stomach, it didn't feel right. And I kept talking to the Twitter folks, and I was like, why am I pretending? Like, I love Twitter. I want to do this. It's my moment. It's my time. And I say this, I said this yesterday to my head of consumer marketing for the Americas. I won't call her name out, but she's here. And I said to her, I was like, this is the last job I'll ever have. And she was like, no. I was like, no. This is the last job I'll ever have. There's 6 of y'all reporting to me. Well, there were 10, and then I got somebody else. But like 6 or 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever. One of y'all should have this job. Or one that looks like it's someplace else. But this is the last job I'll ever have, because this is the right job. Twitter serves the public conversation. Twitter is what's happening. It's real. And so I'm often be said that I'm real, raw, unfiltered. Those are also the traits of Twitter. I try to be filtered a little bit more, but it's my job. Like, it's so funny, right? Because when Jack was interviewing me, I think he like went back and looked at my timeline, right? And he's like, well, she's been doing this for a minute. Okay, she should do it. Like, I just love this brand, and it just fits me. And so when something fits you, and when it feels good. It's like a good pair of shoes. You don't have to worry about it. It's a good jacket, a good pair of jeans. Like, like, okay, I can't have a muffin because these jeans are gonna pop. Not mine, of course, I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, in our world, we believe that brands are built by people. And I think that's, when you have those like aligned values and you're truly going on something you believe in, it's super true. Why would you want that?
It's interesting because like we do a lot of creative work, right? So you do a lot of creative, you get that. When you know the brand and you feel the brand and you're in the right place, when the creative shows up, when the moment the brand shows up, you're like, this is it. Like, let's go. This is it. Like, you're here. And I think, your agency needs to know that. Your people need to know that. Like, we challenge people all the time, and I challenge the team, because if you look at a Twitter timeline, right? Okay, so I'm telling Twitter business right now. But if you look at a Twitter timeline, a lot of times Twitter people will talk to each other. And I challenge my team all the time. You're not gonna learn anything by talking to each other. Like, you will learn this brand and what we need to do to serve our consumers and our users by talking to them. Talking to us is just like, it's like kissing a relative in the mouth with your tongue. See, exactly. So don't do that. Talk to other people. That feeling, that's wrong. Talk to other people. Sometimes you have to deliver the message with impact.
Well, what a ride, and you kind of stuck in it. They took you through a process to get the job, right?
Oh my God, it was a year. It was a year of interviewing. I remember coming back on the plane, and I was headed to New York to meet Leslie. And they sent me a text message on the plane. They're like, hey, we got to talk to you. And I was like, okay. I got off the plane. I pull over to the side, and they're like, yeah, don't come to New York. I'm just like, okay. And so it took a year to get the job. But that's also why it's the right job for me, right? I've taken jobs in a couple of minutes. We sort of talked about this a little bit because I had made the statement yesterday that people should pay women what they're worth. And I was saying this to my husband, you know, because he's, even though, honey, even though he doesn't know how to do laundry, you know, he's always been super, super supportive of me. And I took a job, and I'll say this out loud, right, in public. So lots of people know that I worked at Grammys, and I sort of started social in that space, and was really one of the early people to change how we interact with television online, like at the table arguing with CBS about how Twitter's not going to pay you to put the hashtag, that's for you, not for them. When people join the conversation, what people watch. At that job, I went from being vice president of product development in one company, where I was making 6 figures, to taking the Grammy job and making, I think we said $62,500 a year. $62,000. I was a proper grown-ass woman with real bills and a master's degree and all of that and years of experience. And I was like, but I want to do this work, right? As an opportunity, I want to do this work. And my lovely husband was going to disappoint me. I looked at the camera and said that. But it was $62,500. And every year we'd have to have like a beautiful dress to go to all the events. And I was always kind of like, I'm good at shopping.
Did you expense that?
No, no ma'am, no payment. You cannot expense it. You can't even write it on your taxes, really. But I did the job, and I remember when I decided that the job was no longer fun for $62,500. And I said, I'm gonna leave, because I respect the people. I love the people at the Grammys. And I said, I'm gonna leave. And it's been great, a lot of fun. Love you, need it. Bye-bye. And they were like, no, what's this about? Do you have another job? And I said, I don't have another job, but I'm not gonna work for $62,500 anymore. And they said, we'll change your pay. And they increased my salary to $120,000, which meant they had been sitting on my money for 3 years. So when I say pay women what they're worth, I mean it the first time. Don't make me come at you to get my money. For real, seriously.
I need to jump in on that note, but we want to take some questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
Questions? If you have a question, raise your hand up, and I would never do that, especially not after that.
There might be a check waiting for me.
Do you have a question? Raise your hand. Questions?
At the point that you doubled your salary roughly, did you say, and if you did, how did you get over Goodman Tilted for the previous years?
So I don't hold grudges, and I don't have regrets. I did great work there that no one will ever be able to take from me. And that work has led to many other opportunities for me. I felt some sort of way, because the other piece of that story is I also was raising money. So it was a point in time where an event happened and it was short, and I had to go raise $5 million for that event. So not only did you not give me my money, I made you some money, and you didn't even give me any of that money. And not that money's everything, because I had a great experience, and I took that job. Like, I decided to take that job. And so it was okay. I didn't hold grudges, and I stayed another 18, 20 months, and then I was out.
Other questions?
Deborah, initially I have a question of advice for a dad of 4 girls, but I'd like to thank you and your mom for answering that in 2 ears and 1 mouth, which is perfect for my 4 girls. Thank you for that. But I have a tougher question, which is, how is Twitter going to handle politicians spreading the big lie in the coming elections? You've handled one already very well, thank you. So curious as to how you're going to be doing it beyond that.
So I would love to be able to answer that question, but I'm not going to, because the reason I'm not going to answer that question is it's just out of my lane. There is an amazing, incredible policy team at Twitter that does work harder than I would ever do. Because they have to get up every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And they have to balance all the stuff that happens on that platform. And they have to take all the incoming hate and negativity and bad energy and lie tellers and sometimes pseudo truth tellers and decide what gets to stay and what doesn't. And that's really, really hard for them, right? Because, you know, as much as Twitter is the public conversation, when it is the public town hall and the public square, people have decided that we are very much a utility. And I think Twitter has taken that in a very humble way as a brand, but we also do other things. And so we get the burden of having to carry that for everyone. I'm way outside of my lane and I don't want the policy people to come and snatch me off the stage. So, but there is an amazing policy team and they are charged with that responsibility. And it is a big job. Like I get to come here and hang out with y'all and tell funny stories and stuff. They don't get to do that. And oftentimes their safety is at risk. Because this is a dangerous world that we live in. And Twitter's in the middle of it. We're living in truth right now. It takes a village. It absolutely takes a village. And you know, another great life lesson, stay in your lane. I don't swim in that lane. And they do amazing, incredible work. And remember, I started at Twitter January 4th, 2021. 2 days in. So I know when I'm out of my depth. And I don't try to do things that I'm not good at.
Good time for one last question.
I love how they're making you look all over the room. There's one back there too, so I'm gonna go fast.
Okay. So my name is Colleen. I'm with the Washington Post, and I just wanted to say that I think on the flip side of that, Twitter has been doing a job of giving a platform to so much truth. And something that we've seen with the Post, it helps build those personalities. So I'm just kind of curious if there's been a personality or something that you've seen pop on Twitter that either shocked or surprised you, because I think that we see it all the time, especially with our reporters that always think of themselves as personalities.
So you know what there's a question back there, and I'm gonna answer this question really quick, just back there. The one thing that I love about like the Washington Post and the New York Times and NPR and some others is spaces and like the birth of social audio. Like I used to sit with my grandpa and listen to radio, like, and I listened to talk radio in the car, and so like the birth of social audio and being able to hear your favorite reporter talk about how they got the story, how they secured the story, and give you deeper than what you read. I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited to hear my favorite reporters talk through that. And so to me, that's been the biggest, most exciting part of like in the last like year, 18 months. And I think it's been the pandemic has helped people want deeper information so that they actually find the truth. And now we're adding layered voices to things. I think that helps. That's the only marketing can really help.
Hey, Nate Nichols, current director of Calgary. We were talking about alignment earlier. Now,
Get closer.
this role and job was very aligned for you, and that you have this wonderful team of 10, 12,
So I keep losing count.
okay, 15, 20, 30, let's just go. And you mentioned how you ensure that you feel aligned with the work that you do. So my question is, how do you make sure your team feels aligned? How do you inspire like alignment and calibration with your team in such a wild time?
That's a great question. And so for me, a lot of that becomes, I have a leadership team, right? And so I would love to tell you that I do this work by myself. I don't. And so I have a leadership team. And the most important thing for me is that they are involved in the decision making. Like if they can't make the decision, if I need to make it for them, if I need to break a tie, but we get in a room, virtual room, unfortunately, and now we're getting in more physical rooms, but we get in a room, I set the challenge, so this is the thing we have to solve for. How do you want to approach it? And you get to go back and forth with your colleague who sits in a different vertical, and you get to answer that question for yourself, and then we collectively come to what the right answer is. I have said this, and I said this to you, if I am leading the team, and I'm the smartest person on the team, we engineered something so wrong, so very wrong. My job is to create a platform, a situation, an environment where my leadership team can solve problems and level up. Because when I'm not there in 5 years, because we just said that, right? And so now I'm kind of held to that, right? But everything has an expiration date, right? Including me, meat, men, milk, and meat. And so that's some alliteration for you. But the reality is that they need to be making those decisions. So when they have to make it again without me, it feels comfortable and natural for them. And so they need to, that's how you get them aligned to the work, is that you don't dictate down, you collaborate with, you bring in. And I'm okay sharing the decision-making and the stage with any of the people on my team, the 140 of them who are right now standing out in the cold at the Twitter house doing work, or back home doing some stuff, or preparing for stuff on Tuesday. That's my job.
I know we can sit here and listen to you all day. This is amazing. I know as a father of 2 daughters, I love this. Thank you very much. You guys are amazing.